In Clair Obscur, you are given 6 different characters that you can control and play as. Each of them has a unique gimmick and a different skill set. Normally, you would be able to make a party composition that complements each other so you can face the Paintress and bring her down. But today, what if instead of facing this world with a decked out team, one person confronts the horrors alone? Today, we will beat Clair Obscur with only one character. Hope you enjoy. Let's begin. The first thing you're going to do is choose the difficulty. I'm going to play on Expeditioner for the intended experience. And you know, because this challenge is kind of already hard enough, make sure to do the tutorial. There is some useful stuff to grab around the area, and every little bit helps. Make sure to win against Sciel to get a useful item.
Congratulations, you beat a teenager.
Well, there's no need to be so sassy about it. I used the token I got from Sciel to get a broken pictos that can be fixed later. With that, we are ready to venture into the unknown. We are finally alone. In this first section, having only one character is intended, so it will proceed as normal. However, as the game gives you more characters, the intended balance will slip out of our hands, forcing us into more unconventional methods of fighting, to say the least. We get forced immediately into an enemy encounter, with one more person than necessary. What's even worse, the game forces you to use an attack, contributing to the damage counter and thus failing the run. So is it over already? Well, not quite. You see, because Clair Obscur respects the player, you can reload a past save, go into your settings, and disable tutorials entirely. Furthermore, the game gives you the option to skip your turn, that way Gustave will be the only character used. However, we are still forced to tank some attacks instead of parrying them. Whenever an enemy attacks the expedition, you can normally counter for some massive damage. However, since this triggers an attack from each party member instead of just Gustave, we can't do that either. Luckily, this is just a basic enemy and not a boss, so we can get through it easily even when tanking attacks. We can now remove Lune from our party so this doesn't happen again. I'm honestly glad Clair Obscur lets you remove party members from your roster, because other games might not let you, thinking the player is stupid. Which I am, but I'm glad this game allows you the freedom of choice to make bad decisions. Something that is much appreciated to a challenge runner like me, who spends every waking moment making questionable decisions on how to play a game. It's about time for a rematch. You don't have any cutscenes to save you now. Let's show you how us Souls players do things. It's time for our first boss, the Chromatic Lancier. While this boss is optional, it demonstrates the nature of this challenge pretty well, that being pain. While parrying lets you get great damage on him, if you miss it, you die. To win means nothing short of perfection. Luckily, the fight is short if you successfully land your parries, and we get some good stuff for our efforts. Grab the remaining items around the area, and we find ourselves face to face with our first main boss, the Avec. Or Avec, I don't know how to pronounce it, I'm so sorry. Because we took the time to kill the optional boss, we have more damage at our disposal than one would normally have at this point. So even if you miss the parry timings, so long as you don't let the summoned minions hit you, the rest of the battle should be easy. The most annoying part is when he shields himself. Since each shield blocks exactly one hit regardless of how much damage you deal, it poses a real issue for this run considering there's a limited number of attacks we can do, so any enemy that can regen shields might very well be unkillable. Luckily, this boss only shields himself once, so we don't have to worry about that. Victory. How do I get you? Is it through here? Apparently not. You know what, it's not worth my time. How bad could it be? Oh. Okay, yeah, we are definitely not supposed to be here. You know, you just have to admire the devs for making such a beautiful game. The enemies in this area are just so satisfying to fight. Although, we need to focus on getting through here. our third party member should be in a shack nearby. Not like it will help me, but the story must progress. And now that we've acquired our third party member, which means the game is going to ramp up its difficulty to match that, make sure to unequip your party members again after getting Sciel. The curator stands in the way of the exit. Luckily, this boss is only present to teach you about attacks that need to be jumped, so he only spams one attack that's easy to punish. Easy fight. I love the gestrels so much. Merchants that only respect you once you've thrown hands. Peak riding. Should we really be giving Nevrons explosives? I'm sure it'll work out one way or another. I kill as many Nevrons along the way as possible to reach a decent level, and head to confront the Bourgeon. Yet another optional boss that needs to be killed so Gustave doesn't suffer horribly when he confronts the main boss of the area, although Gustave certainly suffers a great deal just trying to defeat the Bourgeois. The answer to our problem is almost entirely a skill issue. Learn the parry timings and try to dodge any combo attacks. While this was certainly the most annoying boss yet, I'm sure that worse things are yet to come. Now that we have leveled up as well as getting a new weapon, you can use those skill points to grab some powerful abilities for Gustave. Now that is some sweet damage. And that's also one of the many things I love about this game. Going out of your way to defeat a hard boss makes normal enemies much easier, really makes it feel like you spent your time well instead of coming back near endgame and just one-shotting a boss. Another optional boss? Okay, let's try it. Oh. Yeah, I'm gonna pass on this one. Although he is guarding something handy. So I used my secret technique of pulling out my Glock and just stunning him, giving me some time to run and pick up the item. Now for the next main boss, Goblu. Since most of my levels have went into health and defense, I can tank the majority of the boss's attacks. However, that also means any attack that isn't our ultimate tickles him. Although the biggest problem with this boss is the flowers. Occasionally he will respawn or make new flowers. And there are two types of flowers, blue and red. The blue flowers give him shields, which are really annoying to deal with considering our limited number of attacks, and the red ones give him more attack power, and if you don't keep up with those, you will soon be dead. But if you're careful and you keep enough AP to deal with the flowers, you can use Gustave's healing ability to stay in the fight as long as necessary. And after a long fight, he goes down on my second try.
It seems peaceful, as long as we don't touch the flowers.
You should have told me about not touching the flowers earlier. It's not like I wanted to tickle a boss to death. I am able to upgrade my weapon, and I prepare for the next area. This is a Patank. Think of them as loot goblins on steroids. They drop a bunch of useful stuff. However, remember the theoretical problem about regenerating shields from earlier? Yeah, this is what it's like fighting a Patank. Even worse is that you have a limited time to defeat it before it escapes. Luckily, you're not required to beat it to progress the story, but it's just another limitation on this run. Since we've been powering up Gustave, this area is like a natural counter to me. All of the enemies here are resistant to lightning damage, which is our main source of damage. Even without that, the enemies are just naturally tanky and hit even harder. I'm starting to feel as if this run is soon going to be impossible with how everything is ramping up. One person just can't match with the power of an entire team. Shouldn't really be surprising, I suppose. After all, the point of turn-based team RPGs like these is finding good party composition. I should just be happy I've gotten this far.
An advantage.
Unless... if you've been keeping up with me and have all of these pictos unlocked, set Gustave up like so. With this build, your basic attack will be buffed like crazy. With this, our damage is not only decent, but we have a sustainable form of healing allowing us to press onwards. I love the gestrels so much. They feel like a joke character in a D&D session, but they're just amazing. The ultimate Sakapata! Honestly love this fight. The big thing here is whether or not our build can keep up with the damage output. Turns out, it can. We are still tickling the bosses to death, but so long as the bosses are equally annoyed that we can't die, it evens out. Our healing is absolutely insane with this build. At this point, I feel almost... And with enough patience, we can proceed into the Gestural Village. First try. Time to go see the chef. God, this game is amazing. Turns out, to proceed, we need to prove our strength, meaning we have to beat Gestrals in 1v1 matches. But I'm kind of used to fighting with only one character now, so being forced to abandon my party changes nothing. In fact, it works in my favor as I annihilate the Gestrals one by one. Oh hey, it's Sciel, our fourth party member that we get to ignore. The Gestrals still want to fight though. Whether we win or lose doesn't matter, but I still fight. Sciel is actually my favorite character to play as. Her moveset is just satisfying, but we are stuck with Gustave. After the fight, make sure to unequip the new party member and explore the Gestural Village for all the stuff they have. Fight the merchants around the area, make sure to get augmented aim, and buy up anything that's useful from the other merchants scattered throughout the village. I will end you. That might be the single most skippable thing I've ever seen. Did they just reference the "This is fine" meme? Oh, this is Game of the Year already. Our next goal is to get Eske, and to do that, we need to help him acquire Flory.
One whose every step shakes the foundation of the world. The one known as... François.
Okay, just give this game Game of the Year already. This is the real reason GTA got delayed. No one can just beat Francois.
A rock? I am not a rock. Do you have rocks for eyes? You certainly have rocks for brains. I am clearly a turtle. Eskia! Stop sending hooligans over here!
Stop being a meanie. They're nice humans.
Time for Francois. First, the good news. He only knows one attack. The bad news is that he is really good at that attack. All this means, however, is that once you can consistently dodge the attack, the rest of the fight is easy. With that done, we can finally travel with best boy, Eske. Eske is by far my favorite character in this game. I don't think I've loved the fictional character this much since Undertale. That is just how good the storytelling in this game is. Hey, quick side note, while I am trying to keep a lot of the story spoiler-free, it's going to be impossible to understand what's going on without some spoilers soon. If you're still here, I'm assuming you either played through a decent amount of the game, beat it, or you just don't care about the spoilers. You have been warned. On to the next area. Meet these annoying guys. They constantly reapply their shields every single time it's their turn. They do that and then attack. Honestly, probably the most annoying enemies you will have to deal with in this run, or this game. The only benefit is that they stab themselves to reapply the shield, so if you destroy the shield before their next turn, they will take a bit of damage. However, we only barely have enough attacks to consistently do this, so we end up taking an obscene amount of time to kill them anytime we encounter them. This is legitimately how long a boss battle would take. This is ridiculous. Luckily, the other enemies in this area aren't nearly as annoying, so just make sure to grab everything around the area and fight anything that doesn't reapply shields at a rapid pace, and you should be fine. The Lamp Master was the first boss I truly struggled with on my first playthrough. While the others killed me a few times, it didn't take me long to figure out their patterns and gimmicks to a point where I could win. The Lamp Master, however, is strong, and resistant to light damage, which we are currently doing. The combos are long and unforgiving, and the damage he deals is nothing to laugh at, so I end up dying. Luckily, this gives me the opportunity to switch out Gustave's weapon so we can deal some good damage to the boss. Our only option is to use our skill to fight. Let's dance. Victory. Glad that's over. Oh, never mind. Of course it isn't. Guess this game has bosses that have second phases as well. No matter, how much harder could its second phase possibly be? Interesting. Mr. Lamp Guy here turns into an anime antagonist and starts pulling out named attacks like it's nothing. All jokes aside, the main thing that has changed is his moveset. It's entirely different. He does more damage, and he's overall harder to dodge. While none of his attacks one-shot me, some of them can come close. Luckily, Gustave still has enough healing to get back on his knees. He's had a rough time thus far, but he's strong and used to fighting against the odds. And with one last blow, the victory goes to Gustave. Glad that's over. Time to relax a bit. You have quite a bit farther to go, Gustave.
It's more about...
You're kidding me, right? Can a guy catch a break around here? No matter. Gustave, show him what your training has done for you. Oh, you're kidding me. You aren't dead yet, either. Gustave, I'm gonna need you to clutch up. Show him your power. Gustave? Wake up, Gustave! After how far we came, it's sad we have to part this way. Well, Gustave is genuinely 100% dead now, so unless we want to call the run quits there, we get to choose our next character. Meet Sciel. But on my first playthrough, I gave her a different name. But to make her live up to her true potential, we have some stuff to do. First, stop by the hidden Gestural Arena, where you get the option to fight 4 Gestrals in a 1v1 in ascending difficulty. Matthew gives us the ability to guarantee a crit on every single attack while fighting solo, but this is only the beginning of our power. Bertrand gives us Rush, something that increases our speed and frequency of attack when solo. And Dominique gives us a shell defense buff when fighting solo. And lastly, Tiny Head, the strongest of the bunch. This fight actually requires some skill in beating him, but if you play patiently and remember to heal, you should be fine. And killing him gives us 50% extra damage when fighting solo. Very nice. And as a reward for beating all of them, we get our last pictos required for this run. Powerful while fighting alone, increasing our damage by a further 25%. Go on, Sciel. Show them what you can do on your own. Whether you be an enemy or whether you be a boss, Sciel fears nothing and bows to no one. You know not the hell you have unleashed on this world by removing Gustave. He was not your enemy, but the only thing between you and Sciel. For across the lands it shall echo once more the name I once bestowed upon her. She is Sciel, the Godkiller. Enough messing around, it's about time we proceed with the main story. And it's here I encounter my next problem, the Forgotten Battlefield. You see, this place has a tutorial on gradient parries, forcing you into a party battle with a predetermined loadout. Because we already disabled tutorials, we aren't forced to do any damage. However, there is no way to change who enters this battle and in what order. Luckily, because Sciel isn't here if we let them get killed, we can then send in Sciel as our solo member in the reserve team, returning the run back to normal. Make sure to unequip the party members again and you will be free to explore the area. Unfortunately, most every enemy here is resistant to Sciel's dark damage, which doesn't matter much when you output as much damage as Sciel does, although it's important to note that while our damage is high, we are still actually relatively squishy. So while I would like to say Sciel is a Godkiller, she is more like the ultimate glass cannon currently. which definitely makes killing enemies around each area less of a slog. Make sure to buy the inverted infinity pictos from this merchant, giving us 50% extra damage while inverted. And since this also implies inverted for 3 turns, that is some free damage. Oh, is it time for the next boss already? Oh, I almost feel bad for you. Just almost. You're gonna feel that in the morning. Oh, you have a second phase? I mean, go for it, man. It literally changes nothing, except for now that you look like a wannabe Pontiff Sullivan. Okay, Sciel, show him the futility of his actions. Don't you just love it when a build comes together? No grinding required, just good pictos combinations with some skill to back it up. Hey, you're not supposed to be here. Are you trying to get credit for Sciel's kill? Ignore this cutscene, I said ignore it. It seems I have made a grave miscalculation. Well, it is a good reminder that overconfidence is a slow and insidious killer. How about we go and get our next party member, Monoko. Look, in all fairness, they are men of similar tastes, if you know what I mean. Our damage is no longer quite as impressive as before, but we still output enough to compensate for being only one person. With him defeated, we get interrupted by another boss that's used to showcase a new gimmick. Luckily with this one, we can use the character we want. Unfortunately for the boss, that means he isn't long for this world, especially now that Sciel can use her gradient attacks. Yep, perfectly balanced. With Miyazaki now in our party, make sure to unequip him as usual, upgrade Sciel for all of her hard work, and get to some minor genocide to make sure we are prepared for our next roadblock. While Sciel is training for the oncoming battle, I'd like to talk to you for a moment. Yes, you. As a small YouTuber, right now everything is edited, scripted, and recorded by me. And while this isn't bad, it just means it takes a lot of my time and effort to create a video like this. Seriously, it takes a long time. So please, if you found this enjoyable, subscribing, leaving a like, or even a comment telling me you just enjoyed it, matters a lot to me. It helps let me know that my time was spent wisely and that you actually enjoyed it. What you do matters. Not only to the algorithm on whether or not it shows others this video, but also to me. But enough of that boring sentimental stuff. You came here to see the game beat with only one character, so let's get right back into it, shall we? How bad could Old Lumiere possibly be? I make sure to grab healing counter and then encounter my mortal nemesis in this challenge, the plot. We have now been split into 2 different groups. Or more generally put, the group with the Godkiller and the group without the Godkiller. Group A proceeds as one would expect, killing everything in one button press. Oh hey, that's a good challenge run idea, let me write that down. Next is Group B. Since there is a forced fight within Group B, we need to choose someone to temporarily represent our one character. I bestow replacement Gustave with powers beyond his imagination, and I'm able to get through. Damn it, Verso, not you as well. Despite losing party members left and right, we can still proceed forward until we reach the manor, and encounter our next problem. This is yet another cutscene that forces you into a fight, but this time, since we have a 5th party member, going into reserves won't fix the problem. Luckily, if you die, you respawn at the last flag, and unlike previous forced cutscenes, you are given back control of your party composition, letting you choose the character you want to play as. Problem solved. Now for the actual fight. Go on, Sciel. Show him the true meaning of fear. Did Sciel just get sent to the Shadow Realm? You're kidding me. Fine, you want to play that way? Screw your first phase. Go on, summon your thingies, see what good it will do you. Second phase already? How about I ignore those healing pillars entirely and just kill you instead? That is a main boss killed in 40 seconds. I killed the guy in just 3 turns. Oh, this build is so broken. Oh, it's beautiful. As funny as demolishing a main story boss in 3 turns is, we still have some more to go. To fight the Paintress and avenge Gustave, we need to create a gimmick weapon, and to do that, we have to kill the Axons. The first one is Visages, or He Who Guards Truth with Lies. Is really annoying, or at least that's what I kept telling myself on my first playthrough, not knowing you were supposed to go through the 3 side areas first to weaken him. So, instead of repeating the same mistake, let's kill the 3 masks. The first is Sadness. By killing him, you are actually able to gain AP during the boss battle. You know, the thing that lets you use skills. Kind of useful to have. The next is Joy. Without him dead, the boss will keep healing himself. Very self-explanatory as to why we want him dead. Last is Anger. This just prevents the boss from having twice as many attacks. Do you see why I originally hated this boss? No matter. With this, you can actually fight the Axon on fair ground. If you can even call a fight with Sciel fair at this point. Normally, in this boss fight, you'd cycle through each of the masks by shooting the glowing things. Normally, it's a battle of endurance. You don't actually have to empty his health bar to win. However, I took that as a challenge and killed the gimmick boss without needing to use the gimmick. Oh yeah, second phase. I guess it was a little bit easy for a boss. However, on the second phase, I am reminded of our own mortality, even as strong as we are. It comes down to the wire, with Sciel dying of burning next turn. For her to win, she would have to eliminate half of an Axon's health bar in a single attack. Victory. Wait, is that another pictos that increases our damage? At camp, I reallocate Sciel's pictos loadout as well as upgrading her weapon level, and I immediately head to spread the terror that is Sciel to the next Axon. In fact, most enemies can't even get a turn off on me. I mean, even Patanks don't have enough health to escape. Don't get me wrong, they do come close to escaping, but Sciel still has enough damage to pull through. Although, sometimes I need a reminder that Sciel is still mortal. I hate mimes. The next boss, Tishur, is entirely optional. However, this is another case of, if you don't kill it, you will regret it. The main gimmick is the curse effect. No matter what you do, if you don't kill the boss within a certain amount of turns, you will die. But as you know well by now, that isn't a problem for Sciel. And for our efforts, a pictos that makes us immune to charm. Something that will prove its worth sooner rather than later. The Glissandro is another boss that needs to die, and all of its attacks are nothing to worry about. Except for one. Sciel, wait, don't do it! Damn it. As you probably know, having your only character in their visit on this mortal coil isn't optional. This is where the anti-charm comes in. With this equipped, we won't be having any more premature visits to the afterlife. With that taken care of, we can fight Serene. Fun fact, did you know Serene is resistant to light damage? Here's another fun fact, it doesn't matter. Because the amount of damage you can deal in a single hit is 9,999, we aren't losing much damage from her being resistant, because our damage is already way over the current damage cap. And one of the reasons Sciel is so powerful is because a lot of her attacks have multiple hits to them, allowing the damage of a single attack to go over 9,999. And even with her resistances, during Twilight we can reach the damage cap anyways. This is great because Serene can apply the cursed effect, so you need to kill her fast. Luckily, that's what Sciel excels at. With that, the last Axon is dead, and we acquired the MacGuffin necessary to fight the Paintress. It's finally time to end this. Oh. Okay, that seems like an issue. Guess we can't fight the Paintress just yet. We have to go through the Finnale area. which I want to say is just absolutely beautiful. It's a clever remix of the previous areas you've went to, allowing you to refight bosses to see just how far you've come, giving you loot and XP to power up to make sure you are ready for the final boss. And overall, it's just a really good way to wrap up the game. And I know a lot of people dislike boss rushes, and normally I'm against them as well. But this is actually a really well done boss rush, and probably due to the fact that each area is unique. Since they don't abuse reusing enemies, seeing bosses near the end doesn't feel like lazy game design, but it feels tasteful. A beautiful way to encapsulate what the Paintress is. Or perhaps the best part is that it's entirely optional. You don't even have to refight any of these enemies if you don't want to, but I think you'll find yourself fighting them anyways. That's just how fun this game is. And as we come close to the final boss, I will issue one last warning. From this point onwards, if you want to avoid major spoilers, leave and come back later. I don't want to ruin this story for anyone. It is amazing. But with that, we proceed onwards. Very well. You want a rematch then, Renoir? And what makes you think this will proceed any differently than before? Go on, heal to full during your phase transition. See how much good it will do you. It changes nothing. Oh, right. I forgot you could do that. Hey, if you don't mind, could you kindly stop sending me to the Shadow Realm for 10 seconds? Thanks. Let's talk about Renoir. The first issue is that he can completely erase your character. While annoying on any run, you could just revive whoever disappeared. However, we have no such option here. Because he has a larger amount of health, trying to ignore the attack entirely won't work this time. So the only option is to learn it and parry it consistently. The other annoying part is how often Renoir attacks. During second phase, he is enraged, and for every turn he has, he can attack twice as much as normal. Meaning, if he has 2 turns before my 1, he actually has 4 turns. And during that period, he can dish out an obscene amount of damage. While I do have the option to heal, I can't focus on dealing heavy damage whenever I'm low, so I'm forced to balance it carefully while learning the attack patterns better. And eventually, I win the last battle against Renoir. How ironic. Renoir gets sent to the Shadow Realm in the end. Not so fun on the receiving end of that, huh? One last boss to go. Stand aside, guys. I know you've been waiting for this a long time, but let me solo her. At this point, even with our strength, we can't compare to a full party because of the damage cap. But we still have plenty of survivability. The biggest problem is that some of her attacks can stun. If at any point you get stunned, you are forced to face tank the rest of the attacks. Most of her attacks have patterns that are easy enough to learn. Long attacks, yes, but still easy, so it doesn't take long to put her into her second phase. And this is where the fight starts getting tricky. In this phase, her attacks do a ton of damage and apply burn to make matters even worse. It took effort to even keep Sciel alive, and since most of my efforts went to surviving instead of damage, the fight dragged out longer and longer, until she reached half health where our problems begin. There is no way we could possibly do that much damage in that time frame. So, is killing the Paintress impossible? Well, not quite. By shooting the weird orb things, you can extend your death timer further. Of course, this costs AP to do, leaving even less room for failure. While it certainly makes matters harder, it at least doesn't make it impossible. And through my efforts and a very long battle, I win. Oh wait, there's a third phase, great. Luckily, the painter only heals your expeditioners during this phase, making it impossible to lose. Unless you had the inverted effect and started panicking because you couldn't dodge the healing. What? Why do I mention that? No reason. Yes, I spent 20 minutes on a single boss fight, don't judge me. Finally, we defeat the Paintress and head back to celebrate our victory.
For in ridding the world of the Paintress, you'd lose the sole force standing against the one who would erase us. The one who invokes the flowers of the Gommage. An act of love. For he does love her. Your father. On her monolith, she paints a warning for us all. Of the few she can save as her power wanes. Your mother paints life, whilst your father, death. What will you paint?
Wait, you're kidding me. That can't be how it ends. Please don't take Sciel. I refuse to let this be the end. There must be something we can do. Mael kindly brings Sciel back to life. After all, we do have an army to build and a god to kill. It's time for Sciel to live up to her true name. But to do that, we first need to power up Sciel further. I completely respect Sciel until I have a working build, and using the ability we get from the Paintress, finally uncap our damage, unlock another gradient attack, and then visit one more place, the Dark Gestural Arena. Just as the previous arena brought out Sciel's true power, this one will let it soar to new heights. The health bars of the enemies here are massive. Luckily, if you can properly parry their attacks, they will die within a decent amount of time. Considering they are just Gestrals, you should already know their attack patterns by now. Each victory gives you some powerful upgrade materials, some Lumina points, and most importantly, a ton of XP. And once you've won your third fight, you will be asked to fight Gogra. You don't actually have to win against Gogra, but for what we're doing, if you can win, it's a nice bonus. I'd love to give you an in-depth look about her boss fight or how to win, but I was honestly just spamming dodge, not knowing what I was doing, but it somehow panned out. I won against all of the odds when I honestly shouldn't have, but we take those. With that, it's about time we storm Lumiere. We run past all of the enemies, heading straight for Renoir. Anything that stands in the way of Sciel doesn't stand for long. Does Renoir truly think that something this weak is enough to stop me? Seems we must teach him a lesson on why Sciel is called the Godkiller. How about you sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Yep, perfectly balanced. First phase over and the boss didn't take a single turn. Okay, Renoir, I get it. You want a turn as well. Go ahead, hit me with what you got. Is that all you've got? Okay. My turn. Yep. Perfectly balanced. Mael, would you please get out of the way? Sciel had it handled. Well, that is the bulk of the run done. All that's left is to choose an ending. And while neither are definitively good or bad, I choose the one where I fight as Verso. The ending he gives is very bittersweet. With that, thanks for watching through. If you enjoyed, let me know if you'd like to see more challenge runs of Clair Obscur. With that, until next time, don't you dare get gommaged.